let's continue with the topic economic recession. Yesterday, when we talk about the economy's health, we know that the balance between supply and demand is a crucial factor to maintain the healthy of economy. So, whatever factor that impact that disrupt to this balance will lead to the economic recession. So today we will deep dive into four factors. The first one is shocks. For instance, natural disaster, war, geopolitical factors, and all these factors for supply side, the economic charge more for product that use energy because this factor will impact seriously to the source of energy. So when the supply charge more for the energy, the price of goods and services will raise and it discourage demand and prompt economic recession. The second factor that can lead to economic recessions looks out paradoxically. It is prosperity. Some recession can happen in time of prosperity or possibly even because of prosperity. Because when market expansion, it sometimes can reach to unsustainable level. Consumer and corporation will will borrow more money with assumption that the economic will grow as fast as enough for them to pay back to the loan. But the economic doesn't grow as quickly as they expect, and the loan will burden extra financial burden into the consumer, into the corporation, and they will end up with more debt than they can manage. To pay off the loan, they have to redirect the funding and slow or shrink the funding for economic activity that will lead to economic recession as well. The first factor that can lead to economic recession is a psychological factor. Psychological factor can understand as the fears of consumer of corporation about recession. It becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, and people at that time will pull back investing, spending, manufacturer will cut up operating cost to have expected decline in demand, and it will end up with a vicious circle. Cost cut lead to low wages, low wages lead to lower demand, and at the end of the day it will lead to economic recession. Some policy that is developed by the government to prevent economic recession can contribute to economic recession. In the tough time, government will use some policy as a fiscal or monetary policy to spend more money or lower interest rate, and at that time the smaller lender or banks will lower their interest rate as well, and less it makes less costly for the loan. The corporation and the consumer will borrow more, and they will too they will become too reliant on the cheap debt from government stimulus. These policies aren't sustainable and need to be reversed. to prevent excessive inflation. And in the nutshell, modern markets are very complicated. So today, recession is more difficult than it were in the past to navigate. But we can gain more insight from uh, the current recession to anticipate and to respond to the future recession more effectively.